Diane in Denmark here, timer is running. Welcome back to another video in the series about getting things done together with Flylady. And I hope you've been following from day one. I'll put the link so you can go back and have a look, because otherwise this won't make much sense. Yesterday I was talking about documents coming into the house. You know, how do we deal with all the papers that are coming in, the papers that have already come in and we didn't maybe action them at the time or put them into some kind of system. And today I want to talk about more documents, more mail, but I'm going to talk about electronic mail, because electronic mail, you know, it's not something that you can see lying on the kitchen counter, you know, or, you know, you don't kind of dump it at the end of your kitchen counter or when you come in the door. But it is clutter, and it is clutter which annoys us because it's kind of sitting there in our heads, because we know, oh, you know, when we open our smartphones or open the computer, whoa, there are thousands of emails there, and how are we going to attack that? How are we going to get control? And that's the thing with Flylady system, getting things done system. What we're wanting to get for ourselves is some kind of control, because it's when we don't have the control, that's where the stress comes in, that's where the worry comes in. We're not sleeping at night, or we wake up in the middle of the night, oh, with a thought, you know, what about that? So hopefully, up until so far, you've been, you know, writing things down as soon as it pops into your head. Is it something I need to do when I'm away from my desk? Is it something I need to do on errand day? Or when I'm actually at home? You know, I've talked about this. We're going to take the same approach to the electronic mail. So first of all, and I just wanted to mention, somebody asked yesterday, how many steps are there to this little video series I'm doing? Well, I can't really say how many steps there are, because if you think about the Flylady website, you know, you search for Flylady and you go into the Flylady website, and there's a lot of information there, and you might, you know, actually read about the 31 baby steps. It says, you know, start here, sign up for emails, do the 31 baby steps. I'll put a link there. I've walked you through the baby steps, dragged you through them. But, you know, there are all different kind of offshoots, and, you know, then there's weekly home blessing, and maybe further down the line you're adding zones. It's the same with the getting things done system. Perhaps you have read David Allen's book, maybe you've just seen some TED Talks on YouTube. And, you know, it's that same kind of thing. We think, oh, that's a really good idea. That will be able to help me, and I like the idea of that. But you're not quite sure where to start. And this is what I hope I'm giving to you now. It's my interpretation of the system, what has worked for me. And, you know, you can go back and revisit things after a couple of months, see if it's working, if it's not working. And that's the beauty of these things. You don't have to do exactly as it says in getting things done, because, you know, maybe your household doesn't work that way. You are working 3 days out of the home, and you just take what you need from the system, but hopefully work through some of the baby steps, and that's what I'm showing you here. So anyway, without further ado, let's get on to electronic mail. Anything electronic that comes in. Now, let me just check my list, because there are a few steps I need to remember to tell you about. First of all, whenever you open your smartphone, you know, or look on the computer, hopefully you will be doing things the Flylady way. Do not open that smartphone, and do not, you know, delve into the computer without setting a timer, because you know what happens? We think we're just going to answer one email, and 2 hours later you're on Amazon, you're looking at Groupon deals. Set your timer for a reasonable amount of time, like let's say 15 minutes. So you open your smartphone where your emails are coming in, or your computer or your iPad. And it's the same as we did with, you know, our thoughts, or with the actual mail that's coming in the house. If it's something that you can deal with and it takes less than 2 minutes, do it right now. If you open up an email and it's something that you can reply yes or no to, don't start putting it into another folder and think, just reply there and then. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, just like the Flylady system, just like my videos, they are not perfect. I don't redo things, you know, what you see is what you get. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just do it right there and then. And that especially applies to emails that you see coming in. For example, if you have signed up for newsletters, you know, it's all too easy to do you subscribe to something and then suddenly you've got these emails coming in all the time. If you see an email like that, if you scroll down to the bottom, just hit unsubscribe and do it right there and then, because that way we are stemming the flow of the emails which are coming in. If it's a spam email, you know, just mark it as spam. If it's something that you didn't subscribe to, don't click on the link, because then they will know that, you know, there's somebody out there. So if it's something that you've never subscribed to yourself, just mark it as spam. But if it's something, I don't know, if you're getting tons of Groupon mails, or if it's, you know, for the local grocery store, or for a theatre that you once went to in London, and they're still sending you stuff, just go ahead and unsubscribe right here, right now. Do not think, oh, well, I'll do that later. It takes a second, and as I've said to you before, let's be lazy about things. Don't make more work for yourself. And if you're wondering why I'm saying be lazy, it's like when you come in the door, instead of, you know, putting your coat down on the bench, just put it away in the hall cupboard immediately, because you're making more work for yourself, because you know you're going to have to move that coat and put it away in the cupboard. So let's be lazy and just do it immediately. Do it now. You know, you've heard that in the Flylady system. Oh, sorry, itchy nose. Does that mean I'm getting money? Hopefully. Anyway, so if it's something that only takes 2 minutes to do, you know, answer that email, or delete the email, or unsubscribe from the newsletters. Now, the other thing is, if you're noticing that you have a lot of these things coming in, perhaps Flylady emails, so there aren't too many of them now, I think they send like 5 a day, try and put them into separate folders. You know, you can actually make up a folder, you know, sorry, not a folder, a filter, so that when anything that comes in from Flylady, you can have it going into its own folder immediately without you having to sort it out. Please try and use things like filters, especially if you're signed up for Groupon or any of those things, because you will get so many emails in your inbox, then you can't see something important from your kid's school or from a friend. You know, you're kind of drowning in all these emails. You cannot see the wood from the trees, and you can't see the things that you need to see, because there's too much of the, you know, you maybe want to see it. So use filters for any kind of newsletters or stuff that you're interested in, but is not something that you need to be seeing, you know, that's not an actionable thing. Right, so first of all, so you're going in, if anything needs to be done immediately, and you can do it in 2 minutes, get that done. Use filters as much as possible to filter out all the kind of noise, so we can concentrate on the good stuff. And unsubscribe, just hit that unsubscribe button. I mean, you will be surprised at how many things you have been subscribed to, and it's just clutter. It's just clutter. Right, now, what about all the other stuff that comes in, things that you have to action? Well, as I've said before, it doesn't, perhaps some things don't need to be actioned right here, right now. So for that, what we're going to do is we're going to create some email folders, so that every time you go and check your email, you are putting them into a category. So that way, at the end of every day, you're going to have a completely clear inbox. I can hear the silence there. You're not believing me here. You're saying, what? I've got like 15,000 emails. No. Going forward, when you're checking your emails every day, from now on, you're going to be putting them into a category, just like we did, you know, with a piece of paper, so that you will have, by the, you know, every time you go into your email system, you will put it into some kind of category that's going to be actioned, and you're going to have an empty inbox. Let's just enjoy that thought. So now you're saying to me, okay, well, what categories? It's going to be just like here, like we did with the thoughts in our head. And when you make up these little folders in your email system, if you call that, you can call them whatever you like. I'm going to give you some examples. But if you use the at, so you say at, for example, action, just the very fact of calling it at, that pushes it right up to the top, so that when you are moving things to a different folder, you will see these at ones right away. Probably doesn't make sense, but just work with me, just do it. So, for example, now these are just examples. You do what you like. If you find something else that works better, fine, go ahead. As I said, I'm not the oracle. This is just how it works for me. Anything that you're going to deal with, this week, or it's a today thing, or this week, the email goes into, I call my action. Okay, so, and then during the day, when I need to know what I've got to reply to, or action in some form, shape or form, I just go into that folder. I know that is, those are where the alarm bells are ringing. Those are the things I need to deal with and get done today. Then I have one called at later, and that's anything which is not this week but can be held over to next week. Just like we had, if there's anything that's not on our kind of right here, right now list for next week. And those we're going to review once a week and then bring them forward into the other email box of action, right? Then, of course, you're going to have some emails where somebody has come back to you. Say, for example, there it goes. Yep. Say you have written a letter of complaint to whoever it is, or are waiting for a quote for some work on the house, whatever it is. You might have something and you want to put that into your pending folder. You cannot take any action on the matter, so you've got to put it into pending. And then the last at folder that you might want to have, something I was talking about yesterday, something that's kind of on your mind, maybe a dream that you have, a wish list, or it could be ideas for, say you have a project, maybe you are, planning to change something in your kitchen and you want to look at different taps. You can send an email to yourself and put it down there. So that's the 4 categories that I have. Feel free to go and add something else, but the main thing about working on your email is that we've got to remember to review these things, because as I said before, we can have all the baby steps, you can read all about Flylady, you can read all about getting things done, but unless we take action on all the items that we've written down, we're not going to get anywhere. It's the same as, if you did the baby steps and you wrote down your routines and you maybe put them in your control journal, unless you're actually ticking them and checking them off, nothing is going to change for you. So that's why we've got to be really, we've got to police ourselves and say, once a day, sit down while you're waiting for dinner to finish cooking. Just, check your diary. Are there any dates that need to go in there? Have you got any emails coming in that gave you a date? Put them in there. Is there anything that needs to go on this list? And then once a week, we check and see if there's anything from our later folder that needs to be brought forward. Is there anything on our list for next week that can be brought forward? So we've got to action these things. We are getting things done. But please, take these steps really slowly. It's like the Flylady's baby steps. You are not going to suddenly go from having 10,000 emails to suddenly, being the world's expert and, having nothing. We've really got to find some balance here. It is Plan and Play Tuesday. That's the day that I do my review. I go through the calendar, speak to the kids and my husband and say, what's coming up next week? Is there anything on at school? You know, is anybody going out for dinner? That's the day that I review things, and it just makes it easy for me because I'm not going the whole week thinking, you know, what's coming up. And I sit down for 15 minutes and do it once a week. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to keep it, I'm going to finish off here because I've gone for the 15 minutes, and I like to keep these videos to 15 minutes so that even though you're not doing email or getting things done, you can use these 15 minutes to fold laundry or whatever it is. So anyway, I think that was it. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow just with a kind of roundup of everything we've done with this getting things done system and answer some of the questions that have come up. But anyway, that's it for me, Diane in Denmark. I shall see you a bit later today with something else to do with Christmas. Anyway, that's it for me, Diane in Denmark, signing off, and live long and prosper. Have a great day.